Welcome to Self-Care Tuesdays with KKM. Self-Care Tuesdays with KKM is a podcast about three women with different lifestyles raising awareness on the importance of self-care to reach one's highest potential. Now here are your hosts, Kat, Krista, and Maria. Hey everyone, we are back, and today's topic for self-care is prioritization. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Prioritization.
I'm totally going to butcher that because my accent is definitely going to come out.
Prioritization.
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 Yes.
Okay. So...
Okay, well, what I wanted to put out there is not only priorities, but can you distinguish between your priorities and distraction?
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's actually a very good one. Something that I've yet to master.
I think I could tell the difference, but when you're in the moment, it's so easy to get distracted.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard.
Oh, it's so hard. I mean...
Distractions are everywhere.
Distractions are everywhere, but I realized this through the common denominator. My distraction is my family. I'm so tight with my family. My family, my siblings, my cousins, they're like my best friends. We talk every day, but beautiful. It does get distracting, Oh, my brother will call me like, you want to watch a movie? And we're like, oh, you know what? It's my day off. Yeah, I can totally do that. 3 hours later, the day's over, and boom, I didn't get to do what I was supposed to do today, So that for me is definitely my distractions. But now it's also important to realize that just because they're distracting you at that moment doesn't mean it's inherently bad. Now I just prioritize. Now I really have to prioritize like my time.
Mm-hmm. I guess it could be also discipline. Prioritization can be discipline. That'll be another topic. But anyway.
No, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
So because of that, because of me realizing what my distractions or my number one distraction was, I realized that Monday to Friday is strictly no family.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Is a pretty bold
crazy
move, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I'm going to talk. I see my family every day. My sister, I mean, I'm not talking about like Monday to Fridays and I'm never going to see them. I'm just saying like I would only see them after.
Mm-hmm.
Or you mean...
what I have.
Oh, like, so if you're working 9 to 5, you will have contact with them after 5.
Yes.
That's
exactly.
good.
Well, you're also...
Boundaries.
I'm also thinking about your daughter. I mean, she's always going to be top priority. So you mean like your siblings?
I'm talking about my siblings,
okay.
my cousins, and they listen to this podcast all the time, and they know.
Thank you.
Hi, guys.
Oh yeah, they're awesome. They're amazing.
Awesome.
Love you, but they're probably like, bitch. Like, I don't need you. But for example, this morning I had every intention. Monday is my day off, official day off from everything: work, writing, my book, doing a podcast. I mean, except for today, we had to do a little schedule change. Mondays are inherently my day, or me and my daughter's day.
Nice.
Right. But of course, my phone rings and I didn't pick it up, and my sister kept calling me, so I'm like, okay, I have to pick it up this time. And she's like, hello, we are going to the beach. And I'm like, I really do want to go.
Yeah.
But then I had to put my foot down and say, no, I can't. But you can take my daughter.
Nice.
Right? So, and she didn't get mad at me, or she didn't, but it's me. It's my boundaries. Yeah. It's not on them. The guilt or the defensiveness I feel is inherently on me. It's my energy, not theirs.
That's true. I do have one question because I do find this hard to do. When a distraction comes up, how do you say no? Or how do you... Because whenever someone tells me, hey, do you want to have brunch? And I'm super tired, or I need to be somewhere else, sometimes I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should just do this or that. So I want to know, like, how do you guys prioritize your time and where to allocate that energy?
Oh, I don't think that I have the right answer for that. But I mean, for me, I'm the same as you. I try to fit everything in. So if it's like 5 people's birthdays, I'm going to all 5 birthdays, and I'm stressed out, exhausted.
You're intense.
I am intense, and to me, it's like as long as I show up at least for an hour, then I feel like that's enough. But I'm learning recently that it's not, because then people feel like I'm not committed to them. They feel like I'm splitting my time. It's not enough. Isn't that crazy?
I feel you. I've felt that too. So
I see you looking at me, Krista. Talk to me. Tell me what you're thinking.
Well, this is why we have the self-care, right? Because
Yeah.
when you're going to 5 different parties and, extending yourself and cutting yourself a million different ways, where's Kat?
So Kat is before going out. My mind is already set. Like, I already have in my head, okay, this is what I'm doing. So this past weekend was Minnie's birthday. I mean, you guys were reaching out to me. I shut phone was off.
See, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
phone
that
was
was
done.
good.
I didn't answer anything, and then unless it was like dire need, which was yesterday, Sunday. I was still celebrating or whatever. But when I saw it, you're like, okay, we had to get answers, then I will answer. But if it wasn't that important, I just kind of left it alone and didn't really answer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And focused in on the task, and that's how I do it. Like, sometimes I kind of have to shut everyone else out and just focus on what needs to be done.
That's exactly the answer, though, Maria. I shut everything out.
Yeah, I literally shut everything else out and focus on whatever 5 people it is that day or whatever.
Right.
That's what I do.
So how do you deal with salty people? Like
Salty people, it's not you, it's them.
It's them. Exactly.
They're
I
offended
have to
or whatever.
learn
You
that.
have to know that it's not you. Like, you want to be there. You wish you could be 50,000 places at once, but sometimes you can't. And honestly, I'm saying it now. I'm going to self-care, and I'm going to be saying no to a lot of things. So, sorry in advance, I guess. Because it's too much.
agreed.
And then the people that you do end up spending the time with, it cuts that time short, too. No one's actually you're not really accomplishing what you want to accomplish, which is show the people that you're going to see or visit or whatever. When you're not spending that quality time that they need, you cut it short. It doesn't come across. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
It feels cut off. Yeah.
it does. And I feel bad because I've had a few friends that have told me, like, I love that you try to accommodate seeing me, but I feel like you're trying to fit me in, and I don't want to feel like I'm fit in. And I'm like, well, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to show you that you are a priority, so I'm making the time. Because if not, then you're just gonna have to wait a month or 2, and then
It's like half-assing your time and energy for people.
And we can't. Like, I'm realizing that if you want to, you need to commit to wherever it is that you're going.
Yes. Yeah, the commitment is a big deal. Discipline is a big deal. I'm a Sag, so say commitment word around me and I freak out.
Me too. I just realized. I realized that too.
No, not Virgos.
Really?
Are you cray?
Virgos like commitment?
Virgos are I'm talking about like they're very disciplined. They adhere to what they say, do, or it's almost to the borderline of like too rigid.
Too rigid.
They're no longer malleable.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah. But then you also have to respect that about them.
I think that's an admirable thing.
Oh yeah.
But I think balance is key. If you're too rigid, then there's no balance. That's the only thing.
Right, but if you're too wishy-washy, not knowing your distractions, then then it's no good either. And this is why sometimes, and it took me a bit of time because I'm, the reason why I noticed this is because I'm kind of running behind on my deadlines. And I had to sit back and kind of be like, what happened? Where was I? Why didn't I get my deadlines situated? And I realized the common denominator. And so without being rigid, I decided to make specific time to accommodate distractions and my priorities and my to-do list and commitments, right?
That's interesting.
Distractions doesn't mean you don't do them. Distractions just mean they can't take over your priorities.
Yeah.
Right? It's good to be distracted too, to kind of break it up. The mind can be so rigid, as we said before, and then suddenly the creative juice is no longer flowing. I mean, that science has proven that, really you have to be taken out of this monotonous journey, and needs to
It's true.
I need to spontaneity is so important for me. If not, I get bored and and it's dull.
And then you don't like it anymore.
No, I don't like it anymore.
It's also unlearning a lot of things that you're used to doing. So I'm the biggest procrastinator, and I work well under pressure.
Me too.
I can't do that anymore. I realize the older that I get and the less time I have, as a human being, I can't play that card anymore, because when I do, I half-ass a lot of things, and then my credibility is shot, and the time I have with people seems less significant than I want it to be.
Quality over quantity.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think that's great. I mean, I hope that we've able to dissect that question for you all, and that's definitely one of the things that we want you to engage in.
Yeah, we would love to hear what distractions. What is it? What was the question?
Well, can you be distinguishing between your priorities and distractions?
I also think whenever something is a priority, I find myself running away from it for a little bit. It'll be 5 minutes. Oh, let me just watch this for 5 minutes. Or, oh yeah, I'll do that tomorrow because I'll be nice and energized. But then I wake up and I'm like, hey, let me do my laundry. So I find that if I'm running away from something and I'm not, or not that I'm not aware of it, but I'm not zoning in on it and focusing on it, I know that's definitely a priority because it's lingering in the back of my mind. It's tough. I don't know what to say. I mean, I feel like I'm the worst person to give advice to on this. I'm just going to share my 2 cents.
You're hilarious. You're not. I'm pretty sure
you're not.
More,
I mean, seriously.
While we talk it out, I mean, you're balancing a lot of different.
You're an account manager, for God's sakes, and you have things. You were didn't somebody just say I have the best account manager ever? I mean, seriously,
you can't be
take that in.
Exactly.
You can't say something like that and then and then say I'm the worst on this one.
And I think Krista and Kat, you can relate to this. Being a perfectionist definitely gets in the way of a lot of things because you're trying to perfect it before, revealing it, doing it, or whatever. I just feel like I find myself doing that. I find myself perfecting it and saying, okay, I'm not ready yet, let me just do this first, or let me create a list first and then I'll do this. So I find that's also a distraction. All right, so what's your distraction?
My distraction is probably friends. I'm very social. I notice that a lot of people will call me when they need me, and I could tell that they're just like trying to suck out my energy. Does that make sense?
No, I think they're trying to get loved by you too.
Yeah. I think what's happening is, again, I work with energy, right? So the energy you're pushing out is this ability to help others, and so that's the kind of people that gravitates to you. And this is why boundaries are so important.
Yes.
Okay. So there's days where I'm like, I'm all about love and light too, but there's on Mondays like, nah, I'm shutting y'all off.
No, I mean, that's right. That's why, like, last week when we were talking about boundaries, it was really important. And now talking about prioritization, it's important too, because I have deadlines and stuff that I have to meet too. So I have to learn how to set the boundary of, okay, from this time to this time, I'm not answering. And that's hard because I've done this. I'm like, okay, I'll put a timer on my phone. I'm like, okay, when the timer goes off, that's when I can check text messages or whatever, right?
That's a real technique. Coaches do that.
That's actually a good tip.
Yes.
And I'll share something right after Krista.
I know a writing coach that specifically does that. But again, everybody's different.
Yes, everyone's different.
And I gravitated to her techniques because it resonated with me as far as writing. I'm one of those writers, that I will go for 3 hours straight and just write. And then I'll go for 3-4 days without writing.
I'm the same way.
Right? I wish I could just write a page a day, and then by the end of the year, you'll have a book. In actuality, I've written in a course of, let's say, for 3-4 months, I've written over 45,000 words, which is half of a novel.
Wow.
I mean, it's my vomit draft. It's written. But it was one of those times where I did decide to just go full on. But there's a coach who would time. She would write for 10 minutes, shut it off 5 minutes, she'll go wash the dishes.
I time
She'll
myself
dust.
all the time. Yeah, that's
Right?
exactly how I clean my
5
house.
minutes are up.
Yep.
She goes back to writing
Yeah.
another 15 minutes.
That's exactly
Oh,
how.
wow.
That's what
And
I
it's
do.
really cool. Like,
You know
I was
what?
like, you know what? That's a really cool idea.
That is a cool idea, and I found myself doing the same thing when I was unpacking while I was moving. It does help.
Yeah.
When you have breaks in between.
Yeah.
You're against
and
the clock.
stick to it.
Yeah,
because
that's
there's
true.
times where I'm like, okay, I'll write for 2 hours, and the 2-hour mark is up, and I'm like, no, I want to continue writing, but I had to really commit and say I'm turning
Committing
it
to
off.
stopping.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm committed to
that's-
stop because once you go, and as a creative, once you keep going, you're going.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it's
Right?
hard- it's
hard
difficult
to
to
stop.
stop.
It's
Absolutely.
It's
true.
hard to stop, but you know, if you are committing yourself and to be disciplined enough to commit to this type of technique, and I really did it, and it really worked, and I felt a lot better with the project. Right? I mean, I could have not committed and still would have been able to finish the work, but I'd be exhausted and mentally drained
Yeah.
and creatively drained.
Absolutely.
But in this way, I was
You were
able to
able to
pull
sustain
back, and I was able to say it, and I was able to call my sister. I'm like, let's go hang out and have a drink, or let you know what I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
because then I'm not fully drained, and that was really nice.
That's all. No, timing
I
myself
agree.
is like
Yeah.
it was the best thing. I didn't know that was an actual technique.
Yeah.
After I started doing it, I shared it with a friend of mine, and she told me that it was, and I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like I literally because sometimes I'm unmotivated too. So I find that when you time yourself, it motivates you.
It's unfortunate that my motto in life is live it to the limit. And the thing is, and when you said you're in a zone and you can't stop, that's how I am with everything in life. Because I do find myself when I'm distracted, I'm extremely distracted. When I'm prioritizing something, I'm in it. And when I shut people off, I'm literally gone for a week and I'm nowhere to be found.
There's no balance in that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I think too, priorities and distractions, the key word there too is just balancing it.
Yes.
Just like you said, taking breaks, that's a form of balance.
Yes, balance is so important. So why is it important to prioritize?
Well, I feel like if you don't prioritize what's important to you, then you're basically all over the place, and you're not. I feel like you'll find yourself on this treadmill.
You're like a
going
hamster,
nowhere
yeah, on a tread.
fast.
Yep.
You know, and that's one of the things for me that I've experienced. People use the term busy all the time. I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm busy, and it's like, well, what's the fruit of this busyness that you keep saying that you're busy? So, if back to the question. That's why it's important to prioritize, because then you'll have everything written down and you'll know what needs to get done when, and you can actually see fruit
Yes.
at the end of it.
Oh, well, it's funny because like that's what I wrote. Like why is it important to prioritize? It is important because humans of today, we seem to be so busy, multitasking, wearing many different hats. But are we busy for the sake of being busy, or are we being effective as a human being, living our true purpose?
That's
definitely
Oh,
okay.
I highly agree with this.
Prioritizing
I
is a
agree.
way to wheedle out the unnecessary to-dos. It will give you the ability to use your time wisely, effectively, and with efficiency. Distractions can be people or errands or work that fills up your agenda if we allow it. So this is why it's
I
so
agree.
important that we prioritize.
And
Things
I
will come
agree.
up.
Yeah.
And you have to be open to certain people or things that do come up. Like we don't want to be so rigid in it.
Right.
Yes, there's discipline. However, you have to use discernment.
Of course. You would know the difference between a distraction and a true need.
Distractions to me are things that I use to fill a void, actually.
Oh, a
I
lot
do
of people
find
do
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
and,
My distractions are literally, if you were to just call it another name, it would be stuff that I use to fill a void. So it's important to know that if these distractions are actually taking you somewhere, or if it's just something filling the void.
So why is it important to prioritize for you?
For me, it's important to prioritize because, and I say it again, as I get older, it's even more important because when you're a kid, you can just be as distracted.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
I really
It's true.
can.
It's like you can be
attest
distracted
that,
and
yes.
like be crazy. The reason why it's important for me to prioritize is because as you get older, you have less and less people to rely on And even if you're self-reliant, you find that the people that you either grew up with or the most trusted folks around you aren't always going to be there. And prioritization is important for me because technically I'm an only child, but technically I have siblings. But I do find that as an only child, and knowing that my parents are not really going to be around, I have to take care of myself. I'm very close to my family, and prioritizing for me means that I am supposed to make sure that I'll be okay, so that the ones that are around me are going to be okay, whether it's my future family. So making sure that I'm prioritizing, whether it's focusing in on my core, and we can talk about the inner child, focusing on my finances, prioritizing career, things that are important to me. I find that if I focus on that now, I'm able to lay the foundation of making sure that the ones who come after me are going to be okay, whether it's my family or even me as an older person. Just making sure that I'm good. And it's important to prioritize, because if I don't prioritize my core, and that includes the inner child that I mentioned, I fall apart. And this past year I realized the importance of taking care of that kid, and that kid meaning you, like parenting yourself, adulting, finding ways to make sure that you're continually nourishing yourself, self-caring. That's a form of prioritization.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what do you determine as priority? You've mentioned it a couple of times, inner child, finance, and it's the same thing that I say. It can be a person, project, or situation that needs your attention, because it makes you for a better human being, right? You could be, for me, being a mother is a priority. Being a mother, self-care is a priority to me, because I'm a spiritual advisor, and if I'm not in my best and highest good, then I'm no good to anybody. So that is, I'm advocate for that. Finance in school, my least, but it is a priority. Studying and knowing all this knowledge, but it again, it's different for everybody. But know your circumstance, know your energy.
And what's crazy is that in prioritizing motherhood, finances, that you have another layer that you have to break down. So, okay, you prioritize being a mom. What, as a mom, is a priority then?
Honestly, I've been candid about my relationship with my daughter and being a new mom, and the priority is really our mother-to-daughter relationship.
Love it.
Mother-to-daughter relationship. I know who I was as a child and what resonates with me. I was one of those children that read books, and I'd be okay with just learning and observing and really being on the sideline. Competitive as hell if you put me in, if you put me into anything. But I was one of those that would just
relationship that you have with her.
Right. Whereas my daughter, it's the opposite of who I am, and so I have to really. My priority as a mother is to make sure that I don't change her. I guide her instead.
That's great.
Right. I don't try to put her in a box because I am like this. This is the way I am, but also at the same time not losing who I am.
That's very difficult to do.
Very difficult,
which
because
is why
I
the
can't.
Priorities hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. Losing who I am as a person, and what to me is integrity, what is values to me, and value to me is knowledge. Value to me is learning and studying and all of that. But I know that my daughter is a physical child, and so I am gonna nurture her in putting her into all the classes that will motivate her and to cultivate her essence. At the same time satisfying me. Right. So that's the balance I speak of.
That's awesome.
Right. What about you, my love? Since you have no children.
I have no kids. I have no significant other, but just me. So my priority is my family, which is my dad, my stepmom, me, my career, and honestly, before anything else, is God. To me, I'm a spiritual person too, and it's if I don't put God before anything, I honestly feel I'm nowhere. I feel lost. And I felt that like when I didn't meditate, like for like 2 weeks, or when I didn't focus on taking care of me. So taking care of me is a form of self-care, is a form of self-love.
And you're a priority.
You are. You're
That's
putting
I
yourself
am
as a
my priority, god damn it, and I'm proud of it.
That's
you
right.
should be. We should all be a priority.
So how do you, Kat, prioritize? How do you have like certain techniques? As again, we spoke earlier before, like coaching could be good, but
So what I do is I write a list. I write a long laundry list of things that have to be done, and I analyze the list and cross things off one by one. It's difficult because I just started working. I love my group, so I don't ever want to let them down, but it's hard. Being a working from home mom is not easy, especially when you're trying to build a career at the same time. It's very difficult, and be a present mom. So I'm trying to balance 3 things at the same time, and I love my friends, and I'm so grateful for them because I've had to ignore a lot of them, and I actually just reconnected with some over the weekend, and it was amazing because there was no love lost.
I feel you.
Yeah.
To be honest, what you're saying, what I hear is also what you prioritize is a reflection of your values. And your values is everything. And the reason why I mentioned this is because a friend of mine actually sent me a link called Bullseye. Get back to me real quick because I do want to share this with the audience.
So making a list definitely is a good to go. Now you could break it down some more to timing, long-term list or short-term deadlines that goes along with the long-term or short-term. And obviously doing something every day towards each priority. I'm going to shout out Will Smith right now. Because he said something that was really cool. He said something about like never building a wall. Instead, I'm going to build every brick, every layer to perfection. So he's not looking at the end game. He's looking at every day. How can I perfect this layer? Because then what happens is you eventually get that wall anyway.
Yeah.
Right, so
it's brick by brick.
Yeah, it's brick by brick.
Yeah,
exactly. So like I mentioned, the book. It's scary when I talk about a publisher haunting you and where's the debt? Like where's the book? Where's the manuscript? Where's the manuscript? Where's the manuscript? And it's daunting. And the next day I almost feel like do I really want to go for it? But obviously I am, right? But it's
of course you are. That's who you are. That's the fire in you. You're gonna do it.
Yeah. So that's how you break down maybe the list.
Yeah.
So going back to what I was saying, it's with what you said, it coincides with values. What is your value system? So for example, the one that I mentioned earlier, it's actually called Bullseye Values Exercise. It's based around what's most important to you. So for example, in your career or education, in your family life relationships, or even what you do during your free time, leisurely activities. So it's those things that you have to consider, like what do you value in those different sections of your life? If you value hanging out and learning about, I don't know, astronomy, or you love going to the museums, or you want to just hang out and just drink beer with your buddies or whatever, what is important to you and why is that important to you? The reason why it's important to know that is because it's a way for you to measure your time according to what's in your core, because sometimes your distractions have nothing to do with what your core is asking you to do. And by core I mean what your highest self, your highest whatever, that's going to help you get to places, that's going to actually help you prioritize. If you don't know if that distraction is just something to get your mind off of things, or if it's actually a way for you to decompress and relax, then you're actually veering off in another direction. So knowing your value, what you value, and having a basic understanding of your value system will actually help you prioritize in some way, and will help you make the best out of those 10 hours or whatever amount of hours you have in a day that's for you.
Cool.
Or not even for you, but for the things that you have to do in your daily life, whether it's work or sleep.
I'm with it.
Or eat.
So I wanted to add here my background in angels. I specifically work with Archangel Metatron. you could Google him, you could find out about him. Specifically, he's the Archangel Metatron who spends time, who is actually the prioritization angel, time management angel. Yes, so in my world of spirit and energy, right, we are not bound by time nor space. Right?
I love it. Every time you say that, I hear your voice in the shower whenever I remember.
Right, the showers when I do my best thinking.
And I would remember. I mean, I use Archangel. I use all my archangels, but Archangel Metatron I use specifically for when I'm running behind, where I'm running late, when I have deadlines, or I'm stuck in traffic, and there's I have to get somewhere. And what else can you do in traffic? You can't magically move the cars.
No, you can't.
Right? So at this point, I'm like, Archangel Metatron, hook it up. Right? And so, and again, what happens would be either the person that's running the show or running the thing is running late, or something had happened where I literally would come in just right on time. And you can't make this shit up.
You're gonna get where you need to be whenever you get there. So the whole panic, the whole rushing, we do it. I do it. Trust me, I am queen of rushing and running. You have to be conscious about your energy, like you say, and just know that you get there exactly where you meant to, right? So you get there when you're meant to.
Right, but where's the defined line, and where are you just being autonomous? Because someone who is always late, and this was she was interviewed. Why are you always late? Why are you always an hour late? It's almost kind of ridiculous.
Who was this, do you know?
No, it was someone I don't know.
Because Cal wants to talk to her.
No, I just want to know. I want to read.
But it was because it was her way of being autonomous.
What's autonomous?
Autonomous is when this is who inherently you are, because so it's almost kind of like you're not doing it on purpose. It's just because you're always late, so it just becomes you. Just like, why do you always gravitate to drama? Why are you always, in a drama? Why
that's a great perspective.
Right? Because it's that's the only thing they know. That's the only thing they know.
I get that.
Right?
Yeah.
So again, energy, transference, energy
Absolutely.
attracts energy. So we had to, work with her mindset and alter her neuroplasticity in her brain to allow that, hey, you don't always have to be late.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or you don't always have to, a lot of people with dramatic situations, or they follow me around. Drama just follows me. I don't ask for it.
Not true.
But in reality, you have to take accountability of yourself.
Absolutely.
So yes, that person is like, I don't know why I'm always late. It's just who I am. You have to take accountability
for
at
your
the time that it's valuing your time. And so,
and
it's
valuing other people's time as well.
Right.
I think that's where I'm at right now as well. I feel horrible now. I'm just where before it didn't really bother me, because my friends, we were all the same. We were just kind of very free flowing, and just, we get there when we get there, and it's not like that anymore. The people that I'm surrounding myself with are now, and I respect that, and I respect them. And so now I think a tip that I can say is, or not a tip, but something that I've learned is that you have to be accountable of your time.
Right.
Be mindful of when you have to be somewhere or what you're doing, so that way you can give yourself enough time, prioritize your day where you can give yourself enough time to get where you need to get to with enough on time.
That's true.
Yeah, to me, sometimes, just again, as I'm I had a deadline and I didn't seem to follow through with that, and I'm usually good with that. And I have to step back, and I have to rearrange, re-articulate, sit there and really, really go deep within. Yeah. But there's times where, again, you don't have that ability. Yeah. And it's in the moment, and that's why I'm giving you my secret weapon, Archangel Metatron. He's really awesome at that. It really is. So, and there's no, formal prayer to him or anything. You just say Archangel Metatron, hook it up. What needs to be done. Specifically to me, a lot of times is transportation issue. Driving somewhere, making committed times and dates and all of that stuff.
Yeah. So how do you guys avoid distractions? What is your tip?
Just, you have to be disciplined and committed to the list to your priorities.
Yeah.
That's it. There is no...
Shut everyone off, as
Yep.
Kat said.
Shut everyone down. Nope.
Yeah.
Just shut it all down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
So people are gonna listen to this and just shut off everyone.
listen, you have to use discernment. You know, if you have something that you have to get done, you gotta shut it down. I mean,
It's true.
And this is why I like that whole thing with the whole, like, let's work right for 2 hours and then
Yeah,
let's go
the
on social
timing.
media for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's the biggest distraction nowadays is social media.
Yeah,
The funny thing is people make it a priority instead of
to stay on social. Absolutely.
right?
It's true.
It's true. It's the saddest thing. But I'm not gonna. Sometimes it's people's jobs,
It's
you
my
know.
job.
So yeah, so it's you have a reason. But if someone who
But again, it's not social media itself. It is the act of when you scroll through and start comparing and start, doing all crazy
That's a
stuff.
whole
That is
other
another.
thing.
I
That's a
know
whole
it is
nother
another
thing.
topic, but that's what it is too. Like when you really think about it,
Well,
like if that is your priority, that means you're prioritizing other people's, projecting certain things or like allowing certain people's lives to affect you when they're not really doing anything. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we've established that priorities are something that is going to benefit you and elevate you to another level.
Yes.
That's what priorities means. So when somebody, as you state, that you're allowing the projections of other people, that's not a
That's not a
priority.
priority.
Or they're misconstruing what priority means.
And that happens though, especially
Yeah.
with social media. I mean, priority, and that's the importance of prioritizing right there. You, without social media, don't look at social media for what your priorities are. Know yourself. Look within yourself of what your priorities are, what your values are. So you're not affected by what's on social media because it changes quickly. All of a sudden, your priorities are this, and then you're looking at some I don't even want to go there.
What?
You're looking at
Someone
social.
sunbathing, and I'm like, I'm going to go to the beach and get sunbathed.
It could be that, or it could be, it could be health and body. You know how many women struggle
Yes, you're so
with,
right.
with
Thank you for saying that.
images of these women who go and get surgeries, and it's hard because you have someone that wants to
this
do
is
it.
why I decreased my time on social because it's just
You're either
It's
going
a
to
lot.
decrease it, or you have to know. You have to be strong-minded and know the difference.
So when do we prioritize? Hello.
When you go
When
crazy, when everything feels all out of whack, I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I feel it in my chest. I'll be overwhelmed with so many different tasks and things to do. I have to write it down.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to what Maria said earlier about as we get older. It's so true. I found that now that I'm older, I have so much more responsibilities. Again, i.e., being a mother, being a business owner. I find that when I'm not staying at the present and I'm looking too far ahead, I'm not talking about months or days or weeks, people. I'm talking about like just waking up at 10 and I'm already looking at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
And I'm already in my head, I'm like, that's not a lot of time between 10 to 2
No.
p.m. And already, then I get, that's the same thing with the Will Smith says, right? With the whole, you're looking ahead, you're trying to build this wall. Stay present.
Stay present.
And so I found that I did, and and that really helped me. So when, I do it I have to do it every day because I forget little things. Oh my God. I needed light bulbs 3 weeks ago.
I still need light bulbs.
And I still need light bulbs. I finally,
too.
I finally,
I can't believe you said
I
that.
finally
still
wrote it
need
down on
light
my
bulbs.
to-do list, and guess what? It's in my car.
I love
what
it.
I mean?
Now the
That's what I
task
mean.
is bringing it to the house.
Right, and that's, it's just crazy little ish
It
like
is.
that.
It's
I mean,
true.
that who's to say that light bulbs are priorities? But it actually is because it's been there for 3 freaking weeks.
When you can't
Yeah.
see at night. It really is.
So
Right.
my tip for avoiding distraction is not even think about it, just do it. Like I find that if I'm in bed and I start thinking for more than 5 minutes, because I overthink, that's when it ruins me. When I think of something, I'm like, all right, I just got to do it. And I get up, shower, whatever, and I just get it done. Because I find that the more I think about it, I'm like, well, maybe if I take this route and I just do this later, I still have to do this. But then I'm just like, no, just do it. Because it took me 3 days to mail my rent check too.
That's hilarious.
Right? So obviously that's not your priority.
I've
See what I mean? It's like I had to force myself, or even getting water, or like it's just you just have
water?
to. Yeah, like
so
a gallon
cute.
of water. It just there were times that I had to
get it.
seamless food just to get the water.
Yeah.
I didn't even
No,
care
I
about the
get
food. I
it.
just wanted the water. It's just I get so lazy, and it's laziness. That's what it is. It's laziness
Yeah.
on my part.
Yeah, it's real out here, man.
It's the values, man.
That's
it's
why-
the values.
It
that
is,
you,
it's the
you-
value.
It's the values you attach to the priorities.
Exactly.
Right? So,
And I think that's a great point with what you just said. Like, overthinking will kill the process of prioritization. Like, you just
Yeah.
gotta do it sometimes. Like, you know what's on your list, just
It's
do it.
true.
Like, what are you thinking about? You know it's there.
Exactly.
Just do it.
And going back to the values, it's like, well, maybe you're not doing it because you're sleepy and you need rest and you're saying you're tired or you feel a certain way and you don't want to go out. Maybe you're not taking care of a certain aspect of yourself that you should be prioritizing, and that is what may be the distraction. So,
We hope that time and this prioritization podcast helped you out. I mean, definitely ask yourself the question that Krista said. Can you say that one more time for them?
can you distinguish between your priorities and distractions? If you're ever lost, just ask. If you're ever just like thinking, is this a distraction or priority? You'll know because of where you stand as far as you feel. Okay, is your body cringing? Okay,
Yeah, that's
you have
true.
these are all techniques that I
Listen to your body.
Listen to your body. Your body is your first tell sign. Your body will react automatically, intuitively. Okay, if your mind your mind is amazing. It will tell you it's okay, but your body will in essence know what needs to be done and where it stands, right? So, and honestly, I want to say that when it is filled and it is done, the priorities, I mean, the gloriousness you feel
The accomplishment.
of the accomplishment that you have done is tremendous.
It feels
And
good.
when it is time now for, for example, when my daughter comes home, I know that when I pick her up from daycare, I'm done. It's my time is on her now. My energy is on her now. But now I don't look at it as like, oh, I wish I had more time, because I've done the accomplishments and the priorities. And then now I actually, the relationship aspect with my daughter is now in even better state.
Oh, that's
It's
beautiful.
so beautiful. I mean, really, like when you really do this, don't make it as a job. It's because it really ultimately is for your best and highest good, and that's what we promote here, and that's what we push out here for.
Yeah, and everything that we've been talking about so far, writing, when you write things down, it's self-care, which will then also break down your priority and your time. And one thing that I wanted to share was that I read this quote. It said, instead of "I don't have time," try saying it's not a priority and see how that feels. It's almost the same thing as it's not about having time, it's about making time. The water is not a priority to you. Like, you don't care if you're hydrated or not. I'm just saying. Or whatever it is that you think that you don't have time for, it's not, just look at it as it's not a priority to you, and feel this thing from that. And maybe it'll help change your perspective of how you move forward, instead of saying you don't have time.
Yes.
It's true.
Yes, you don't have time. That's so. It kind of gives you a negative connotation, right? Like,
It
I don't have time
does,
for that.
yeah.
Now
Or
when
I
my
don't-
friends tell me that they don't have time, I'm like, you're basically saying I'm not a priority to you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
that's what that's exactly
that
what
is what it
Yeah.
is. Like,
Yeah.
so I try
I've
not
been
to say I don't
very
have time.
mindful of that most recently.
That's a wrap. We'll see you in 2 weeks. And that's it, guys. Thanks so much for listening to Self-Care Tuesdays with KKM. We look forward to sharing with you guys again in 2 weeks. If you need to get in touch with us before then, you can head over to our website, www.selfcaretuesdays.com. And all our social handles are there. You can email us, whatever you need. We're here. Thanks again so much for listening. It was fun sharing. We'll talk to you guys soon.